This would be one of my Angolan pythons. This is one of the big girls. We've got a couple sisters. Hey there, Miss Kaylin. She got off work and wanted to do a live. Wanted to show off the Angolans. She was just beautifully coiled up, and I really wanted to show her off. Again, this is an Angolan python. And looking at the camera, it does look like you guys can tell. They have raised scales, they're beaded. Kind of like a bearded dragon. I'd say abrasive, but they're not really abrasive. They're more like a braille feeling to them. You can just feel each individual scale. So they are quite a bit different. And they're a lot cooler. They're much more interactive. Ball pythons like to stay in a ball, stay under their hide. The Angolans, as soon as you open their tub, they're awake. They're trying to move around. They want to investigate what's going on. And again, this is one of our big girl Angolans. She's one of my favorite. Super interactive, but super docile. I mean, they're like puppy dog tame. You can touch them on their face, and they don't want to do nothing but hang out and stay. They ate yesterday, so everybody's in the back of their tub, staying warm, digesting. If you see me give them a little head tap, it's just like this. That's just to keep her in the tub. She's really interested in just scooting around and zooming around, smelling the room and stuff. All the other snake smells. What's up, that face cloak? She is super interested in this tripod, as you can see. She keeps coming up to smell on it. Coming right for the camera. There we go. Come on, girl, let's get back in. Yeah, so we've got a bunch of different ball pythons, and we've got quite a few of these Angolans. I've got 4 females. They're all sisters. And then we've got a male. He looks quite a bit different than the girls. Yeah, that's our little Angolan project. I've been growing these girls up since they were all hatchlings. I seen 2 of them on Morph Market. I think this was back in 2020, maybe 19. But yeah, I just really enjoyed them. I bought 2 of them, and as soon as I cut the box open, I called the guy back and ordered the other 2 sisters. Unfortunately, he didn't have a male, so it took some time for me to hunt down a male. There weren't as many available on Morph Market as there currently are back then. You'd see them very far and few between, but now there's probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them available on Morph Market. So, Angolans are coming more to the market, and their price has really come down. So they're much more affordable for people now. You could probably pick a male up for, I don't know, $550. shipped. So hatchling, yeah, they've come down a bit in price. Females, they're still going to be probably about 800 to 1,000 for a hatchling. And obviously, you get a bigger one, they're a little more pricey, especially a big female like this. She is breeder size. We've had her locking with the male for about a year now. They're both very receptive to each other. They both enjoy each other and all that good stuff, but she hasn't quite, I don't know, progressed enough to go ahead and take and go full term to lay eggs. We haven't noticed anything like that with them. Man, she's just really wanting me to let her explore the room. How do I pay for the eggs? So we don't pay for eggs. We produce them. So this would be one of our females, and then we've got one male right above them. Actually, that would be our incubator. We don't have any eggs in it right now. We've actually got them all up in there. So, yeah, once the female lays the eggs, we would take them out. We put them into little egg boxes, and they go into the incubator for about 60 days. Sometimes a little earlier than that. Once the babies come out of their egg, once they shed, we go ahead and put them into their tubs, into their first little home, their first little apartment in the rack, and then after they've grown out of that, we'll put them into the bigger racks, like you see this large girl here. Yep, an Angolan python. So these are from southern Africa, not South Africa, but just north of South Africa. We've got these in Namibia and Angola. So two southwestern countries of Africa. While the ball pythons are way up north in Africa. But these are just some of my favorite snakes in general, but definitely favorite python. We call this girl Soft Strike, and that is because whenever she's offered a meal, she doesn't do a big combusting strike. She more or less just wants to put her mouth onto the prey and go ahead and wrap it up. Let's check out another one of these girls. She's been such a doll for us, staying in her tub and not being all flighty. She's mostly just interested in the camera. So I'd love to show her all day, but let's check out another one. We've got a female right above her. This girl that is actually heavily in shed. So we'll do a nice little comparison between the two. A snake that is not in shed and then one that is deeply in shed. Adjust this camera a bit. So this would be one of her sisters. And as you can see, that eye, you see the blue glossy look to the eye. That means she is in full blue, as we call it. Now she does look a little bit darker than the other girl. That is because she's in blue, but it's also that she is a little bit darker. She's got a much more chocolate overall color scheme to her. She's just much darker, deeper, richer. Yeah, I wish she wasn't in shed so I could show the comparison between the two of them and you could see the differences, but yeah, nonetheless, she's gorgeous. And just like her sister, she's interested in this camera. She wants me to hand her a rodent. But she's a big striker. If I hand her something, she'll explode. Nothing like Soft Strike, the previous female. Another cool thing about these compared to most other snakes, most other pythons in general, but most other snakes as a whole in general, um, you will not get a bad shed with these guys. They're extremely tolerant to dry scenarios, which is kind of I'm not the creator, but kind of the reasoning behind that we've collected um, of their beaded scales. So sometimes these guys, they live in such arid climates that there isn't rainfall, and sometimes throughout an Angolan's entire life, they'll never drink water from, say, a stream or a puddle. They'll drink the dew that collects on these beaded scales, these raised scales. Now, I've actually witnessed that with these girls here. I've watched them drink from themselves, just the humidity that would gather in a tub. But back to their shedding, yeah, you will never have a bad shed with these girls. Any sort of Angolan, it is a complete shed every time. It doesn't matter how humid, it doesn't matter how dry. They're just a much more tolerant species. Look at her. She's snorting around trying to find some smell of a rodent, but there are none in here. That was yesterday evening. Go check out that video if you'd like. We did post up an Angolan feeding video, and then we also posted a rather lengthy ball python feeding video. We did all of our hatchlings and all of our adult females yesterday. And then the Angolans as well. The ball python video got a little long. We were up at 30 minutes when we finished feeding all the ball pythons, so we dedicated a video to just the Angolans for their feeding session. If you'd like to go check that out, all of them ate except this girl. Hey, Milky, what's up, man? Yeah, ball pythons are a little finicky. We've got plenty of those too. They really do enjoy their consistent humidity. We actually did just have a bad shed on our one of our males, my lavender albino male. He had a bad shed, but we just bumped the humidity up the next day and it came right off just fine. These guys, though, you will never have a bad shed. I used to collect them because I was so pleased at how intact all the sheds were, but I get so many from them all, and they're always perfect intact that I don't necessarily aim to get them. But if I see one that's perfect, I try to grab it. I like to hang them up on my wall here, and I like to take little videos and photos of snakes in front of all the snake skins. It just gives a real textured background. It's a neat look. I haven't seen anybody else do it either, so it's just a little unique thing that we get to do. Man, this is as calm as these Angolans ever are. Usually they are super interactive, moving around, trying to climb out of the tub. But I really appreciate them hanging out and staying in place so that everybody could get a good look at them. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. And it's kind of hard because stop collecting the sheds, well, you know, the snake gets bigger and you want a huge shed from it, so that's just how I do it. Yeah, taking a little rest, I see. Laying her head down. Let's move up to another female and check out another Angolan. We can come back to her if you guys like. But I just like to try and show off a couple females. This girl's definitely a bit more interactive. I've watched her the whole time that we've been recording this video. She's been moving around. There she is. Now, what I named this girl was Biter. And that's because she's the only one that's ever bitten me. And now she wants to knock over the camera. Come on, girl. Stay on in there for us. These girls are almost full grown. They're about 5.5 feet. I believe, again, I said it a little bit ago, I'd have to check my records, but I believe I got them in 2020. Though I think they're 19s. I think they were born November of 2019. And then I ended up picking them up in the end week of January. I picked up two. The beginning week of February, because I loved those two so much. I called him back and said, hey, send me those two more and I will send you some more money. Yeah, this is AGF8, aka Biter. She didn't intend to bite me the one time that she got me. She was shooting for a rat and missed. Yeah, but this is just their wild type pattern. It's incredible. I fell in love with them. I was looking at ball pythons on Morph Market, wanting to get back into that, and I stumbled across these guys. I remembered as a boy seeing one at a reptile show, and I thought it was some sort of ball python morph, especially when they had the hybrids next to it, the angry ball. But when I found out this is its own select species, seen the beaded scales, and just seen all the crazy colors and pattern, look at that pixelation that comes on the sides of the belly. When I seen that, I just fell in love with them. And I also fell in love with the fact that there's really not that many. Girl. You never gotten bitten, Milky. Well, dodge it from that boa. You said you got a big boa. If you're going to get bit, take it from the ball python. You don't want to get bit by a boa. I had a real big male boa back in the day. I don't think I was ever bitten by it. But I did have to get bedding out of his mouth once or twice, and that's not a mouth you want to get hooked into. They've got some big old teeth. Not sure if you guys were here at the beginning of the live, but I showed off some of her other sisters. And we'll pan back to them just because we've got this girl right here and we'll compare. But I love how dark chocolatey she is. I mean, even her head, she's so dark and then it fades into that light color. And as you can see, it gets lighter as it goes down towards the end of her body. But just that color gradient, love it. Let's scoot back down to this sister here so I can show you guys that difference. There we are. This was the girl in particular we were talking about. So she's a little different. Sorry if that froze up. I just had my, it said low % battery, so I'm not sure if it froze the video or not. But there's that girl, the one that's super intrigued with the camera lens. I think she's seeing the heat signature from the phone. But she knows this is the camera. We've had this girl for a long time, so she knows our routines. She ate yesterday. She got recorded eating yesterday, and today's the day that she gets to show off a little bit. But if you see those scales, you can, at an angle, you can definitely see that they are protruding off the body. They're like braille. And that's just an adaptation for them. What's the word I'm looking for? It's so simple. Evolving. That's their adaptation for evolving in such a dry climate. Those beaded scales will collect the morning dew. And these girls will drink off of their own bodies, off of those scales. They're also a lot more temperature tolerant than a ball python. These guys, from what I've read, I don't deem myself an expert just for having a couple of them, but from what I've read, they can withstand down to 40 degrees and up to about 120 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. So that's a huge swing for a reptile, especially an African reptile. I would imagine they would not have much of a cold tolerance, but her cold tolerance comes from being a desert dweller. And as you guys know, I'm sure, deserts have got a big swing in temperature coming from the night to the day. Yeah, I wish I had some angry balls. I think we're gonna do it. I think we will be making some angry balls. I went to a reptile show recently, and I was going back when I bought these girls. I had my eye on a pair of angry balls that were het lavender albino and het piebald, both from obviously the ball pythons. Um, the ball portion of the angry ball being that these guys here have no morphs currently in our collections. But I seen a lavender angry ball. Now this is a second generation angry ball. So it was more than likely a dreamsicle was paired to an Angolan. You made double hets, and then someone produced or paired those double hets together, producing the lavender albino angry balls. I was stoked to see those. So I did intend on keeping the line clean and just breeding these 4 females to my male. But I do have an interest in seeing the lavender angry ball. I was just blown away by it. That's all I looked at the show. I went back to that guy's table like at least 4 or 5 times just to stand and talk and look. So if they caught my attention for that much time at the show with everything that's there, I think it's time that I just make them for myself so I can come down here every morning, every evening, and look at my own. Let's see here. We'll scoot down to this other female down below. I am going to have to bounce out in just a couple of minutes just because this phone is dying. Sorry, guys. I can come back on later on if you'd like. And if there's anything else you guys would like to see, I mean, just let me know. Shoot me a comment on any video. I'll do any videos for you guys on these. Oh, shit. About got my finger trying to move this camera. That's the first one today. At least you guys got to see that strike. So she ate yesterday, but she wants to eat again today. This is the smallest sister. Yeah, we've got 4 of these girls. And then we've got their male right below her. I'm going to put old wanting to eat back up because I don't feel like messing around and getting bit for nothing. Some days I'm all right with whatever happens, but... Now, there you go. You see how much lighter this guy is. He's a little vocal. This guy doesn't have that chocolatey. He's more of a, I don't know, like a golden type. So that kind of was on purpose as well. I wanted to get something that was a little different than the females for when we've got a collection of their babies growing up and we want to start breeding them together. So this guy is a zoomer. He's kind of traditional to the Angolans. This is what they like to do. They're like carpet pythons. They like to keep it moving. Not like a ball python that wants to stay under that hide and just sit there in the warmth. These guys would cruise the whole room if I let them. Yeah, everybody's got great body size and great temperament. They all feed proper, shed proper. Seems to be they love their enclosures. They lock and breed, but they're not pooping out eggs for us. So I was told by a couple of guys right before I had purchased them that they do take a little longer to mature than the ball pythons. So we're going into 25. So these, at least the females for certain, I raised them from hatchlings. This guy was already about 500 grams when I got him, but the females are a solid 4 years old, coming up on 5 years, and that's what I was told to expect to get clutches from them, is in their 5th year. Now, they've been locking for 2 years, so I've actually decided to give them a couple of months off. I wanted them all to have 6 months apart. I've also been feeding them less. They seem to be a more slender species, so I wanted to feed them a little less and see if maybe that helped the females build follicles a bit better. I'm just trying everything at this point because they just have proven to not be as easy as ball pythons. You put a male ball python in with a female ball python, get a couple of locks, you get an ovulation, you get eggs. But that has not proved the case for these Angolans. A little more work, but they're also a little more fun. Are they related to rocks? Sorry, Milky, I'm sitting to the side of the camera, so I'm not seeing all of our comments as they roll in. Let's see. So I don't believe they're related to rocks, in the general sense that we're all comfortable with referring to relation. They are pythons, as a rock python is, and they can hybridize. I don't know if anyone's done it, but they can hybridize with ball pythons, carpet pythons, berms, retics, bloods. Check this guy out, Juggernaut Reptiles. Man, he's got a collection of some wild stuff you won't see elsewhere. Crazy triple hybrids with ball python, Angolan, and blood python. It just brings a whole nother dynamic to the game, putting bloods in there. A blood python it's just got that big old head and that big old body, and when you get them together, it's really entertaining. These Angolans, they're super vocal. They're always hissing. It's not in a vicious or aggravated way. It's just kind of who they are. So when you get that with a blood python hybrid, it's a beast. It's intimidating. But yeah, again, Juggernaut Reptiles. Check that guy out. He's I believe he's out of New York. I hope that's right. It could be Jersey, but I'm pretty sure he's out of New York. Elijah, real cool dude. He's got a great collection. But let's see here. Yeah, lavenders are beautiful. I'll show you our lavender here that we intend on pairing up to these female Angolans. He had a nice successful season with some ball pythons. He's got one clutch that is there in the, I'm not going to put him in here long because that's another male, and that male Angolan in particular is he's kind of a bunk. So this would be our lavender. But yeah, check this out on Angolan. That's going to be sweet. He's a really good lavender in particular too. I mean, that's lavender, right? Yellow with purple inside. He's a great example. Here's one of his babies. Let's pull this girl down here just to show the little baby female off here. Oh man, the lavenders always do that. They screw up the color of the screen. There we go. So you can see her true colors. That helps show his color as well, just having that, that contrast. Stay in there, boy. But yeah, that's the baby girl. She's already spoken for. Just getting her nice and fat until we can ship. Got a fella in Canada that'd like to get this girl. Slide her back in, get this Angolan back into his tub because he's hitting. There you go, you hear him missing. He's hitting the floor. Get on in there, buddy. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone who hung out and checked out the Angolans and a couple ball pythons with us. I'll try and go live later on today and do another one. I've just been working so much that I haven't really got time to sit down and mess with the video portion, so live is just going to be a little easier for me. But yeah, Pat, what's up, brother? I'd hang out and stay longer and re-show you all these Angolans, but my phone's about to die, and that's why I'm about to dip out on it. Just got off work a little while ago and came home and just needed to take a seat and check out some snakes. All right, guys. Hit me up later on if you see a video. Pop in. I should be here for a live, probably around 2 o'clock. We'll do it again. All right. See you guys. Thank you again.